My name is Christy Busby, and you are about to listen to the next episode of my podcast called F.A.T.E. From Atheism to Enlightenment. So come on in, join me. We're going to talk about it all from atheism to enlightenment. Alrighty, guys, here we go. Get ready and welcome to your F.A.T.E. Welcome, everyone, to the next episode of F.A.T.E. How's everybody doing today? On today's show, I have martial arts master, healer, and founder of VibraVision, Moss Mike. Moss, welcome to your F.A.T.E., my friend. How are you doing today?
Fantastic. Thank you. I'm getting better and better by the second and so honored and excited to be here. Thank you for having me, Christy.
Oh, thank you for taking the time. I have been doing a little research on you, and you have a absolutely fascinating story. I can't wait to bring it to my audience. Um, you do have this technology that we're going to talk about that is basically, I don't want to talk too much about it because I don't know that much yet, but it seems as if it is unlocking our um our ability to see our true capacities, our superpowers that lie within. And I'm really excited to get to that part of our journey together. But I really want to know how you got here. I know you are a martial arts master. You're world renowned at what you do. So, how did you become Moss Mike, my friend? Can you tell us your story?
Oh my gosh, I would be honored to. I could actually keep you here for weeks and weeks probably, so I'll try to give you the short version. But thank you for asking, Christy. And wrapped up in a nutshell, I grew up in a very small town religious community in Utah, and I didn't really fit in. I was, you know, uh, well, my parents came from Northern California in the late 60s, early 70s, and they came to this mountain valley for skiing. And the predominant religion of the area is the LDS Mormon religion. And I didn't really fit in because I didn't go to the right church and didn't do all the things that the other kids did. So I woke up, or I should say, I grew up fighting a lot and having to defend myself all the time. But what I was really interested in actually was healing people because I came from a medical family. My mom was an ICU nurse. My dad was a director of the ski patrol and a first responder. And I come from a long line of everybody in my family being medical professionals. And what I really saw the miracle of healing taking place before my eyes as a kid was people that are in pain or people that are injured or in trauma, they are literally having their life stolen from them. And when you turn that frown upside down, it's like a miracle. And so I was caught in this weird place of, having to defend myself all the time, but being very sensitive to everybody's emotions and feelings and things that were going on. And I couldn't really describe what was happening. But if I walked into a room and there was one person that was having a bad day, I knew it immediately. Or if somebody, walked up next to me and they were in a bad mood. I knew it, even though there was nothing in my five senses that could tell me that. And I could feel people looking at me and weird things that I couldn't really explain to anybody else. And so I was, searching for this. I saw some amazing stuff when I was young. I saw ninja movies in the mid 80s, the ones with the mouth dubbing and the, stop you dog, I kill you, and throwing the ninja star 100 yards and hitting people in the eye and jumping off buildings and landing in a superhero pose into backflips. And I was like, whoa, I've got to try that. So I did, but I didn't have exactly that first experience be a great one. I jumped off my hay barn. We had horses and the whole 9 yards when I was young. And anyway, it was a painful experience, full of blood and dust and spit and tears and all the things. And I kind of went, oh, that's not real. That's just movie magic. But then, there was more movie magic to come. And I saw Karate Kid and Star Wars movies and all the things. And I always could feel these things from other people and my environment around me, but I couldn't put my finger on it. And there was these movies that were talking about it and I was looking for it. And I saw a group of traveling Shaolin monks when I was young, 10 or 12 years old, came through our town and put on a demonstration of chi powers. And these guys were like, I don't know, 4 feet tall, 90 years old, looked like sun-dried raisins with, the orange robe and a shaved head, but they were so wrinkly and so old. but so powerful. It was unbelievable the things that they were doing with this group of football players that were all huge dudes. And I watched these little guys do some incredible things where they just barely touch the football players, and they'd go flying across the floor and then, leave skid marks with their butt as they slid backwards across the stage. And I was like, whoa, that's like Luke Skywalker, but old. What is going on here? And then I saw something that really, really kind of shook my core, because they had this lady come out on the stage and she had a walker and she could barely move. It took her like 5 minutes to get to the center of the stage. And this monk like waves his hand up above her and she gets up and walks away with no walker and no limp. And I was like, what? Because I was coming from a medical family, so I knew that healing was like magic. And I watched this guy do this thing that totally blew my mind, that I had no idea how it was possible, but I knew I had to find out some stuff about that. So I got involved in American freestyle and full contact martial arts, and I went really, really far down that rabbit hole. I spent about 8.5 or 9 years being a semi-professional tournament judge and competitor, and I was traveling all around the country with the best in the world, looking for this mind over matter and this ability to be more than what I could see in the mirror in front of me. And I attained some really incredible things. I had, by the time I was finished, I had two third-degree black belts and a second-degree black belt, and attained rank in 23 other martial arts. I was an undefeated fighter for 6.5 years, and I got really sucked into that world of security and hurting people. I taught lots of military and police and security and all that. But what I really wanted was I wanted to help people. And then saw an ad in a black belt magazine that said amazing chi in 2 weeks guaranteed or your money back. And I was like, my late teens at this time, going, well, the alternative, the only other people that I could find that had these awesome powers were monks and Taoists and yogis. And they all said, well, you got to do what we did. And it takes 35 years of prayer and meditation in a cave or a monastery, and you got to seclude yourself from the world. And I was like, late teens, going, so that means no movies, no McDonald's, and no girls. Oh, I don't know if I can do that. So I had, picked up so many different things. I had a list of certifications as long as my arm, but I still wasn't able to find a whole lot about people that were actually doing it and able to demonstrate it, that didn't need a full lifetime of seclusion. And then was looking through a black belt magazine, and it said amazing chi and 2 weeks guaranteed to your money back. And it came with this little course, and the course was totally bunk. It was a ripoff of the traditional Merpati Putti or Empe system that is the parent martial art for Vibravision. And came with a little video that was showing these newscasts of Indonesian martial arts, and there was people on these newscasts that were doing incredible inner power stuff. And there was one group in particular that was doing everything blindfolded, and they were military. And I'd worked with the military. I knew that they don't mess around, that they might hide the way that they spend money, but they don't use things that don't work. They actually get the things that work. And so I was watching these guys running around and do obstacle courses and fight and shoot targets and uh, break crazy hard stone and steel and all kinds of stuff with big smiles on their faces. And I was like, in the industry, but I'd never seen anything like this. And what it really came down to is we wanted to help blind people here in the US. So we introduced them to the Utah Schools for the Deaf and the Blind that was here in our hometown, and started the journey there. And I got a chance to meet a blind man who came into my house, and he'd been blind since he was born, and he like had the white eyes going the opposite directions. And he came right into my house and went upstairs and put away all his own clothes and came down and made all his own food and coffee, and then came and sat down next to me, started watching TV, telling me what's on TV. And I was like, what? So I asked him, what is this like for you? And he said, well, he had been dependent on his mom for 30 years and had never been able to be free in any way, because Indonesia is a very dangerous place. But after he learned Vibravision, he rode a bicycle through a crowd of 5,000 people, and he found his mom in the crowd, took a picture of her, a Polaroid, gave it to her with a big hug and said, thanks, Mom, but I'm free. I can do it myself now. And he opened a business, started a family, completely independent. And at that time, I just went, holy crap. Yeah, this is something that's worth dedicating my life to, because if I really wanted to make a difference in the world, uh, there's lots of choices because there's so many things that we can do to serve others. But what I thought, if somebody's paralyzed or something, well, they can still see a sunset or paint a picture of it. They can still watch TV or play video games or do a lot of amazing things. But I was afraid of the dark as a young guy, and when I thought about being trapped in darkness and never being able to open my eyes again, I thought, when he told me this story, that this is worth it. I'll whatever it takes. I'm going to commit my life to doing this. And so um, we're actually the very first outsiders that were ever allowed to train in this. And I promised to the royal family of Java, Indonesia, that I would help them share this message and spread this light because it was originally released in Indonesia to help stop a civil war that was going on in the early 60s. And it totally changed their political landscape, united all the people. And now Merpati Putih, or MPE, is a parent organization. It's a national treasure and a cultural heritage, but they never
What
allowed an outsider to learn it, and so we became the first.
what exactly is, this Morpate Pute? Is that what it's called?
So
What is
close.
this? What I mean, it's Merpate
Uh,
Pute. Pute?
yes, so awesome, perfect, Christy. Merpati Putih. That
What
actually,
is that? What is that? So, when you say that for my audience, what does that mean? Who is that a certain segment of the Indonesian royalty? What are the origins of this? How did you get involved in this? Can you talk a little bit about that part of your journey?
sure, sure, absolutely. Well, I'd been involved in so many martial arts before, but I didn't know that there was Indonesian martial arts. I When I first saw these videos, I was like, "What? Indonesia? What? Where is that?" I really wasn't familiar with it at all. But there's many, many martial arts from Indonesia, and Merpati Putih is the royal family of Java's system of total personal empowerment. So it includes martial arts and self defense stuff, but then we really go deeper into energy generation and creating a lot more electricity inside of our body, and then linking it up with the places in our brain that are usually dormant that we're not using because there's so much going on inside the brain that we're not using. And this basically flips all the switches and turns all the dials to the right settings that we can start tuning into and tapping into our intuition and the information that is coming in from our environment and from source, and basically reawakening our sixth sense, or our instincts, and then tuning it and making it something that we can use, and we can do a lot of different things with it. Like, I mean, just by practicing it, it's the reason it's like so huge in Indonesia. They released it during the Civil War, and basically the 10th and 11th generation heirs to the knowledge that had never been seen outside the family. They kept it within the royal family, but they uh, they saw the civil war going on, and they said, they weren't in power anymore. By the way, this was between communists and socialists, and they killed like 500,000 people in 6 months. It was called the Indonesian genocide. And anyway, they decided they would release it to the Indonesian people, because if we could all see what they could see and we could feel what they could feel, and that is that we're all connected and that we're all energy, that everybody would probably figure out that it's a lot easier to make friends and to create more love and more connection. So they released it to the Indonesian people, and then within 3 years, they had over 1 million practicing members, and it was the third largest martial art in the world. But they never shared it with anyone that was not Indonesian, and so we got to be the first. And in any case, so Merpati Putih actually is a martial arts system, but with that traditional system and what they released to the public, it's like you had to go through the martial arts stuff and then you got to the energy stuff, and you're building both all the way along the way. But basically, you have to do the warrior's path and do all the really hard stuff. Then you can get to the wizard's path, and that's the energy control and manipulation to be able to see without your eyes, or heal other people, or move things without touching them. Different, like, excuse me, it's kind of like real life Star Wars. Uh, Powers and Jedi powers going on inside of all of us, because we are electric beings. I mean, they measure our heartbeat, our brain waves, all of our body's functions with electricity. And we are the generator for it. If we can crank up the generator, we can make more of it, and then we can start using it to do different things. And so we can, protect our own body and make shields and break crazy hard stuff, or use those fields to heal other people or see without our eyes and all of that kind of stuff. And so that's it in a nutshell. What I pretty much did, and to make this and keep my promise to the royal family. I was actually the only person that's ever been allowed to modify the system, because I was adopted into the royal family, and trying to keep this promise, but doing with the Asian paradigm in the Western world was pretty dang hard. Not everybody wants to do all the hard work. They want to take a pill. They want something that's very quick and easy and makes a radical shift in their reality. And I'm a big fan of those, but they don't seem to be permanent, and they seem to give us a little glimpse into another room. But in order to stay there and have access to that room, you need to make it there in a different way on your own. And so basically what this does, I switched the system and I made it so everybody can experience the wizard path. And then if they want, they can choose into the warrior path. And it's been nothing short of amazing. I put 20 years of study into days. I mean, like, if you come to a 5-day immersion, you get more than 20 years of the traditional learning all taking place, and then making it into a fun game where we literally can make meditation fast and fun, and then play games and use it as a feedback generator. So you can tune in that signal and that intuition and that feeling to such a degree, like, so many times in our lives, we have an instinct, a gut feeling, or a hunch, or I know it in my heart, or I feel it in my bones. And then you make the choice. And then you get the feedback on it like 2 weeks or 2 years or 20 years later. And you're like, oh my gosh, I knew I should have. Well, what we figured out how to do is make the shortcut of gamifying it and turning it into a very fast technology that you literally get to do it 100 times in a row with no consequence, only reward. And we make it fast and fun so people can make this quantum leap for all of their self-knowing, to really connect with themselves and who they are, and be able to get through a lot of the, like, what should I say, the dogma and the ritual things that come from different backgrounds.
Programming.
Programming, absolutely.
Programming, man. It's
Domestication
programming.
through,
Yes.
through religion, through society,
Yes.
through different things that really limit us to our true power and our true connection, that you have to find for yourself. No one else can give it to you. You can't buy it. It has to be earned, and it's an inside job. We have to go on the inner journey to find it. And we
That's
basically
exactly right. I mean, this is all fascinating. There's a few things that I love about this. Number 1, you seem very spiritually awakened. You're I'm not familiar with martial arts. I can't really speak on it very much, although I did grow up with my dad watching Saturday morning kung fu theater, so I can identify, and I'm with you, and I used to think I was Bruce Lee-like, so I understand that. Beyond that, I know nothing about martial arts. Is martial arts a situation where it is also spiritually aligned, like you also do meditations, you also become spiritually awakened through martial arts, or was your spiritual journey separate from your martial arts journey, or were they aligned?
that is such a great question, Christy, because they are aligned somewhat. There's lots of gray area inside of there, because in a nutshell, what I was really looking for was this enlightenment and this mind over matter ability, this connection to myself and my higher self and my environment and what life is really all about. And there was a lot of talk about it because it's trendy and everybody, wants to be uh, cool, I guess. But what I really found in that world, keep in mind that this was coming up through the 80s, 90s, and uh, things were a little bit different back there. Then there things were rougher, I guess I should say. There was not a lot of the different things that are happening now in equality and special circumstance and whatever. It was like, hey, kids are mean no matter where you go. That's their nature. That's like baby bears, they fight. Baby wolves, they fight. Baby mountain
That's
lions, they
where
fight. That's what
yeah,
they do. So traditionally, martial arts is a spiritual path, but that usually happens after you've hurt enough people and then you find the spirit. Which is interesting because healing, in my opinion, is like the highest spiritual calling, the highest purpose, because you're actually serving others. And traditionally, martial arts masters would become healers because your students get jacked up and then you got to heal them. You got to keep them on the floor and keep them training. So there's a very, very close tie between the martial science and the healing sciences because they're both dealing with the body. They're both dealing with the mind body connection. And they overlap. But in the American Wild West, I guess I should say, pre 2000s and whatever, there was a lot of talk about it, but then there was huge egos and tough guy stuff, and it was a kind of a clash for me because I would see people talk about it and then go out and demonstrate the exact opposite of what I was
Yeah.
actually looking for. And since I was always sensitive to energy and I could feel it, I could see what was going on and say, that just doesn't really align with me. That's not what I'm actually after. And I tell you, Christy, like the most amazing moment I probably ever had was the first time I lost in a tournament because I had this reputation to upkeep of undefeated, da 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 da, all of the things. And 6.5 years going through, tournament after tournament after tournament, just absolutely being under that pressure. Then the first time that I lost, I remember it was so freaking magnificent. I left the most expensive uniform that I'd ever bought in the bathroom. I was so excited and came out of the tournament like screaming, yeah. And nobody could understand because they weren't on the inside. But for
Mhm.
me, all of a sudden, I felt like I just had a dump truck full of crap dumped off my shoulders that I'd been carrying around for all this time because I didn't have to say I'm undefeated anymore. I didn't have to do anything for anybody but me. And in that
Yeah.
moment, that was a huge turning point for my spiritual journey because I realized that no one else can tell you the answers, that you have to find them yourself. The master really is here to give you a part of the path, and the rest of it is up to us because we don't want to walk somebody else's path anyway. I'm so glad that I'm sovereign, that I'm me, that I'm not anybody else, and nobody else is running me around like a robot, like I'm a radio controlled thing. So in that space, I will say that they are closely tied together, and the path for me happened in the weirdest of ways when I'd already attained massive great in that arena. And then I got to let go of all of it and actually find what the lessons in all of it were for me. And interestingly enough, that is right about when my journey with Merpati started, was shortly after that. I mean, I had already done so many different things, but it was always covered in ego. And this gave me the opportunity to actually connect and feel things in total authenticity and genuine experience rather than being
Yes.
covered with some other stuff.
I also feel that, when you put out that energy, when you're ready to step into your own and you start asking the deeper questions and you get over your ego and you go beyond and you start looking within, which is impressive because a lot of ego-based, martial arts people, wouldn't have maybe chosen the path that you did. They would have been very, maybe a little bit of, too masculine to admit to themselves that there is something more, something deeper. I also get the feeling from you that you call it a sensitivity to energy. You're clair something, clair cognizant, clair sentient, clair knowing. You seem to have some sort of inner knowing from the time that you were very young that, there was more going on than what other people are able to pick up on. Do you feel that you were kind of born with some sort of sixth sense that is more acute than the rest of us? It seems like you're coming across that way, that you have some spidey senses in there. I don't know if you've fully, I mean, I guess you have fully tapped into them. If you were out there healing people, I'm sure you're aware of your inner power at this point.
Wow. Christy, that's a really, really deep one. Let me slip into that as gracefully as I possibly can. In my experience or my opinion, I feel like we all have different talents, strengths, and abilities. Some people they can draw or paint. Visual art is like their jam. Other people can play music. Other people can cook. I can't do any of those things. But I know that some people, come out of the womb pre-wired to do certain things. When you look at prodigies in anything, there's like 4-year-old kid doing crazy stuff on a skateboard. You're like, well, that didn't happen by accident. Something's happening there. For myself, I honestly think that I'm kind of like I'm still a baby. I'm still in diapers. I'm still excited to find out what's around the next corner because one of the biggest things that I can tell you is that just when you think that you've got things figured out, there's one of two things that will happen. Either it's time to roll over into your grave, or life is going to surprise you and make it interesting again. So I feel like I had talent, strength, and ability to be sensitive to what was not being said, but what was underlying in that. And looking into that deeper in the science of it, actually, when I say it's our sixth sense, but it's actually our first sense. This is what babies come into the world with.
Yeah.
When we come in, we've been developing in the womb, but we have not been experiencing the outside world in the same way. So babies' eyes don't actually work. This is an interesting thing that actually babies' eyes are fully sized. They're full size when we're born. That's why babies seem to have such huge eyes, because they're the only part of the body that is actually full size, and then the rest of our body grows around them. But they don't really work. Like, from what I understand in the science, the way that they explain it is that basically babies can just see blobs of grayishness and black and white. That's it. Then they start developing the musculature, which are contracting the lenses and the rods and the cones and the iris and all the things that make that work to start seeing colors. And it starts with red, which is the longest wavelength, and then starts developing to the other colors, which now we can see millions of different colors. But when we first come in, it's like that does not work that way. And yet babies can tell mom and dad across the room. Babies have this sense about them that they love to go to certain people and they will not go to other people. And I noticed that also has to do with animals. Animals also have this ability. And as I began training, with our teacher was one of only 3 people in all the U.S. that could possibly train us, and he was actually the only one that actually could really train us. The other ones were in Washington D.C. and L.A. at the consulate and the embassy, and they only did the health and fitness stuff. But this other gentleman who happened to synchronously, whatever, lived 30 miles from us in Salt Lake City. He was best friends with the 11th generation heir for 7 years, and he was an ear, nose, and throat surgeon. So he was a doctor that had a Western mindset already and understood the logic and could explain things better to us. And he started, telling us, hey, you need to go research this. And it's called the pineal gland. Back in the day, early 2000, there was like no research at all on that. They said, in a nutshell, this has to do with instinct, but it's dormant in humans. We know it's active in animals, but we don't really know what it does. Nowadays, you can Google it, and there's 20 bajillion websites. There's Netflix documentaries. There's everybody, knows about it and is doing different cool stuff with it, and that's amazing. But back in the day, there's nothing on this, and so they thought I had to do something to do with instinct, and that truly is a very broad term because, well, in pursuit of this, what my goal here is to try to figure out the bullseye. If we could figure out where in the brain this is actually happening, the part of the brain that is stimulated and where the switches are, so to speak, then we could help blind people. And, keep in mind, that's not just blind people, because we're all blind in some way. We all have so many blind spots. And
Oh, yeah.
in a nutshell, if we could activate these things without having to go through the whole warrior training and all the hard stuff, and we could actually use a piece of technology to do it. So, hey, sit down, look to your left. We're going to shock this part of your brain with a certain scalar frequency or something, and boom, instantly, a blind person is free, and all of us are free in other ways and are awakening this power. That would be an amazing thing. And so, I was working with one of the top neuroscientists in the world, who his name is Dr. Jeffrey Fannin, and he was Dr. Joe Dispenza's neuroscientist for 8 years, traveling around doing all the brain scans and 3D brain mapping. And he came to came to our school to evaluate us and do some study and try to figure out what's going on. And he was totally blown away, like I'd never seen anything like it. And he explained it to me like this. He said, well, every single second of our life, every single second, our brain is processing about 2,000 bits of information, but our system is downloading and processing over 40 billion bits. So that's like, if you could think of it like a bank account, and these are awareness bucks that you have in your bank account, you have a bank account every second that has 40 billion bits that you can spend. But your brain can only pull out 2,000. You only have 2,000 spending power. That's like 20 million times less than you actually have access to. And we lump the rest of that into subconscious. But
Yeah.
in actuality, the science is really pretty clear that there's a lot more going on here than we can comprehend. And if we can
I
tune in and tap into it, we can get access to a lot more.
I love everything that you're saying. I have to say, I say on this podcast all the time, part of the reason why I do this show is I constantly say to people, we are more than we think we are. There is more going on in our exterior reality than what we even can perceive with our own five senses. And that I believe that if people were to awaken to our true potential, to our true nature, that we would dramatically change and revolutionize everything within our society, how we treat each other, how society works, how we move forward with this new knowledge. And I think, I mean, I haven't seen VibraVision up close or anything like that. And so I can't attest to anything. But from what I understand from just doing my research before you are sitting here now with me, I found it to be the type of technology that the more people are aware of it could really not only allow people that were deaf or blind to see, but to awaken us to our true nature. And I believe that there is a great awakening happening. More people are starting to understand that the pineal gland is an antenna, that everything really is energy, vibration, frequency, that we are powerful co creators of our reality. But most people are so locked into that 3D matrix, that programming that we get from the time that we are young, something that is tangible, something that you could give people to say, look at this, experience this. I feel that is like the only thing that is going to wake some of our most hardcore, narrow minded, locked in humans out there. Don't you think?
I,
It's
you are
exciting, man.
you are hitting it on the head with a big sledgehammer there, Christy, for sure.
Exactly.
And it is definitely the time because I mean, look at what's going on right now, where like 95% of the damage that we've done to this planet, we've done since the Industrial Revolution. It's like 140 years. We're eating ourselves out of house and home. Our population has doubled, 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 doubled. It can't sustain this. And at the same time, historically, looking at what happened in Indonesia when they released this to the Indonesian public, they were underground, like literally both sides of those two, armies that were like there was a coup d'etat, the military overthrew the government. They were hunting the 11th generation heirs to Merpati Budi, that 10th and 11th generation heirs. They had to go underground and they still spread this message and unified their entire country, overthrew all of the bad stuff, got the right people back into power, and changed the entire landscape of their culture. And so, with that in mind, just I know that it can be done. And the key here is that we have to have something that's powerful enough that it's undeniable. And, at the same time, also give grace because please make no mistake about this. Everyone deserves to be on their own path, and everyone deserves to touch the hot burner and touch the wet paint if they want. And who am I to say that I'm right? Because I'm open to finding out. And in that, I will just say though that 500 years ago they knew that the Earth was flat. And there are still some people that believe that today. I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm just saying we won't ever convince everybody. But our job is not to wake up the sheep,
Mm.
it's to find the other lions. And in that, I feel like this world is changing so rapidly with the release of AI, with UAPs showing up, all of this stuff. That there's been a lot of conspiracy theory over the last 50 years, but there's a lot of reality that is happening now that we can see, and it's time for this. I mean, the kids are coming out different now than they did 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. I literally had a 3-year-old kid open my phone through a biometric lock and find the games on it.
I know,
I
right?
don't know how to do that. I didn't even know there was games on my phone. And how did you get through a biometric lock? I don't know. But I know that things are changing. They're changing fast, and it is time for a great awakening. And I'm just honored to be part of the show. I mean, we live at the best time in human history that is recorded this time around, anyway. And I feel like it's fun, really, really fun. The aliens must be having the best reality TV show ever watching this crap go down right
I mean,
now.
I I know they're trying to awaken us as quickly as possible before we yet again blow ourselves up. And also, we're in a new age, man. This is the age of Aquarius. This is the rise of technology. And that includes technology, not only like AI, but this type of technology that can help awaken. And I understand exactly what you're saying when you talk about you're not going to be able to awaken everyone. It's true. Not everybody is meant to awaken in this lifetime, and not everybody is going to find their path. But I do feel like there are many more people out there that are curious about what the nature of reality is, that are searching for things that are outside mainstream science, that are outside mainstream even health. Like, even on my own health journey, I only started getting better when I started looking to alternative ways to heal myself, when I started reaching into things that I probably would not have entertained prior to my health, because I was like so science-based. My degrees in animal behavior and neurobiology. I was an atheist. Science was like the truth for me forever. So I also say on the show a lot of people don't awaken unless they have some sort of trauma. You have to be
Absolutely.
shaken to awaken. You're not going to awaken unless the universe sometimes kicks you and gives you a little bit of trauma in your life that you know will thrust you into your path of awakening, force you into understanding you don't know anything, that there's so much more to life than your you couldn't convince me of anything. Like, I was I really have been through the ringer. The universe spanked me hard, but I'm here. I'm here for it. I love that there are people out there like you that are coming from a place of um not purity. Nobody's pure, but like of it sounds to me you're not trying to make $1 billion. You're trying to let people um in on the secret that we really truly have the ability to co-create a reality, that we're energetic beings. Oh, this is a good question. Ma Spike, what do you feel is the nature of our reality? And then what is your what's your religious beliefs, or where do you swim in that territory of the world? What do you got going on?
Well, Christy, if I could, real quick, let me just put a little addendum onto that, and then if I could address those questions, yeah, I think that'll probably work well. So I feel like you're absolutely right that usually we don't change unless the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change. And a trauma or a shakeup to then wake up is definitely possible in all those things. I feel like money is very important if you don't have any, but once you have some, then it loses its importance as far as it becomes a tool. And I can't say that I wouldn't love $1 billion, but you can't eat, breathe, or drink money.
That's right.
So the big thing is everybody deserves to have abundance. Everybody deserves to have prosperity. And for me, that's always been the thing, is how can I help more people? I think it was Zig Ziglar that said, you can have anything in this life you want as long as, or if you help enough other people get what they want. And I feel like one of the big things for this that really, really rings true for me, the reason that I really chose this above and beyond what I could feel and what I could see, was that this is a science. It's not a, I guess I should say, we're turning woo woo and moving the W down to the end to say, wow, this is really real. We can really do this. And it's a natural talent and an ability that we can document, duplicate, and measure. Let's do it over and over and over, and let's start ascending and evolving, because that's what we're actually here to do.
Yep.
So, spiritually, I guess what I would say is that I can't be any specific religion, because I can't choose to be stuck anywhere. That way I can walk everywhere. And the goal here is to bring everyone together. And I really feel like I have done a fair share of religious study just to understand where people are at, because not one of the great teachers ever actually said, hey, somebody doesn't do it like you kill them. That was what we put into it. And I will say that spirituality is something that all of the great teachers were trying to direct us and guide us toward. And I feel like they all had pretty much the same story. They just had different characters in the story. But love thy neighbor, golden rule, these are the things that, are really important before you die. And then whatever happens after you die, well, in Indonesia, they have an interesting thing. There's four main religions, but there's so many. I mean, there's like 13,000 inhabited islands. They'll print your religion on your driver's license. So if you die out in the jungle, they know how to honor you according to your wishes. And it's kind of like this. If you had the four most holy guys out of, they are the largest Muslim nation in the world. Very different than the Muslims we see on TV, because they just serve us up the crap that they want us to fearmonger into, and reduce our personal power. But also, they're living in a very abundant place that is jungle and full of different resources.
Species? Oh,
Yeah.
resource.
There's also Christians, there's Buddhists, and there's Hindus. And if you took the most holy guys out of all of them and you stack them up next to each other, and then you say, hey, what is really God? And one of them starts explaining it. The other ones are going to say, no, 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 this is the real one. No, this is the real one. And we wage 1,000-year wars over this stuff. When in reality, if I can't see yours and you can't see mine, doesn't that kind of feel like we're arguing about imaginary friends?
Yes.
So, in my viewpoint, I feel like it's up to each one of us to take the lessons of the great teachers, to see through the stuff that other people have put in the way to make it valuable for their own gain and get control, because that's what domestication and the taming of the human is all about. Is, hey, we got to get everybody facing in the right direction, and then you can have order. And I go deeper into this in one of my online courses about blessings and how they use them to control people throughout history. But the short and small of it is like this. There's got to be a choice, there's got to be a reward, and there's got to be a consequence. And if we know that human beings from birth are wired to need love, if you're not loved, you will wither and die. As a baby, you need it. Then comes acceptance. And if you're not accepted by your village, you're outcast, you're pretty much dead anyway, because before we created climate control and food delivery systems, everything wants to kill you and it's hard to survive. So you need a tribe. Once we outgrew tribes, we had to go to civilization, and we had to get everybody facing in the same direction in order to do that. I'm so grateful for the mechanism, but I'm a little resentful, or I guess I should say not resentful. Like, I can see the trap. And I feel like in this age of great awakening, it's time to go back and take the inward journey and then integrate it in, because all of the great teachers were based on one thing, and that is love and
Love.
connection. But
Yep.
the vast majority of power control systems, they create separation and they point out what's different between us rather than what's the same. And when I started training in Vibravision and Merpati, that was like the most amazing thing to me, because it was all about peace and justice for all of humanity. That's what Merpati means, is the white dove. And that doesn't matter what you believe. As long as you want to be a Jedi and not a dark Sith Lord, you want to be a superhero and not a supervillain, this is a way to truly unlock the doorway to the inside world in a different way than anything else that's out there. It's like getting the VIP pass when you go to Universal Studios or Disneyland. So you don't have to wait in line. You just jump on the ride and ride the ride. And it really uncovers in a scientific way that cannot actually be measured inside yourself. So it is still your subjective experience. It's still what's going on inside of you, and you get to know yourself at a totally different level. But it can also be measured on the outside, and you could do it over and over and over. So we know that it's real in the outside objective world as well. It's literally linking science and spirit, the 3D and the 5D, and we can put them together on the same body, which like really that's what they're supposed to be, is we're supposed to use both of them at the same time, a left foot and a right foot.
That's right. Let's,
Once again,
let's actually get into Vibravision and how people can experience it. What is the I know I've seen videos, it's like goggles that you wear during this process, or is that a blindfold? I see somebody I see them all wearing something around their head. I don't know if that's a blindfold or if that's like a VR like headset. Like what exactly tell me walk me through this Vibravision experience and tell my audience what is it? What does it do?
well, it it does a lot. I like to say it's kind of like, do you remember the old Pepto Bismol commercials where if you have upset stomach or heartburn, drink the pink stuff. This is kind of like that, but for life. Everybody comes from someplace different. Everybody has a different need for balance, but no matter what, your balance is always going to be within one of three main aspects, which is your mind, your body, or your spirit. And it's kind of an interesting loop that we play here because your mind and your body are the biggest obstacles to the spirit and actually opening to it. If you're in pain, it creates instant stress. And if you're stressed, it's kind of hard to feel spiritual and connection with your higher self or God or Buddha or Allah or guardian angels or the flying spaghetti monster or whatever it is that you believe in and you're working on. So you have pain, you're instantly stressed, you can't feel that connection. All you feel is pain because it's a powerful signal. On the opposite side, our mind, we are like living in a totally different day and age where it's so cool that we don't have to worry about marauders and bandits coming out of the bushes and killing us or saber-tooth tigers eating us or just having enough food to survive. But we also have this like chronic attention disconnect that advertising, marketing, all of the things that have come into this daily world that like we're programmed for a 7-second attention span and they're feeding us food that creates more of that and different things that have been going on. And so, if you're stressed, it's a reverse and equally powerful and detrimental effect that you get stressed and it builds up in your body. And the smart guys from Hopkins, John Hopkins and Harvard and whatever, they say that over 95% of everything that breaks us down, disease and illnesses and all of this stuff is due to stress that is chronic, getting stuck in our tissues and our systems and then not flowing. And so basically what we do like a electric Drano on your entire system through exercising and breathing in certain ways and then combining it with meditation. And this is what was handed down in the royal family for 11 generations. They figured out like basically all the shortcuts and the cheat codes that, hey, if you do it like this, you'll end up with more like this. It actually originated out of pranayama and kundalini yoga back in the 1550s. But the prince of Indonesia was on sabbatical there. He saw what they were doing and he already had intuitive ability. So he brought it back, taught it to his son in a different, tweaked some stuff, and then it kept going and going. And they basically distilled it into something that we could generate a massive amount of bioelectricity or life energy, chi, ki, prana, whatever you want to call it, inside of our body, and then link it with the spots in our brain through meditation that we can make fast and fun, and then start applying it and utilizing it so we can do crazy things like seeing without our eyes. So with that in mind, that's one piece of the puzzle, but you don't really necessarily need that unless you're blind. But the biggest key here is tuning in your body and your mind to put them together and then opening your connection to your spirit so you can truly know yourself at a totally different level, which is the ultimate journey. That's what we're here to do, is to learn about the outside world and learn about the inside world. And when we put those two together, that's where the superpowers really start coming along. So, to answer your question, what does this do? Well, the first thing, it's like the ultimate biohack. It literally heals you from the inside, get you into the best shape of your life. We can do a 5-minute routine with special breathing and exercises. It's better result to your body than 45 minutes of cardio, workout, warm up, cool down, all of the things. Uh, we can heal ourselves from the inside. I have a friend in Indonesia that's doing crazy studies where they're curing all kinds of degenerative diseases like diabetes, stage 4 cancers, and even lengthening telomeres inside of the DNA, like anti aging stuff. Basically, we're becoming more electric and we're pumping up our cells, giving them what they need to do their job better. And then, stress. Oh my gosh, I have such a large amount of very, very high stress professionals that are working, executives that are dealing with heavy duty decisions. And when they learn how to tune into their intuition, one of my fiance and another student of mine, they made over $250 million of business decisions in 3 months by using this rather than the numbers and the sheets and the charts and all the things that were telling them you should do this. They literally sold at the height of the market. Everybody else tanked and they came out literally on top. It just goes on and on and on. I have so many of my clients that are coming from places that are so hardcore 3D that they either conquer it or they're stuck inside of it, and they know that there's something more. And the more is in here and here. And if we can just go there, we'll give you the VIP ticket. You get the short, quick version to finding a whole new you and a whole new life. And so it completely changes your body, completely changes your mind, and unlocks your awareness into a space of awakening. Our little tagline is awaken your superpowers. But really, I would
Mhm.
say awaken your you per powers, because you are superpowered. It's like for everybody that has been feeling something inside them when they watch an X-Men or a Marvel movie or whatever, there's something inside of me sleeping. This awakens it and gives it to a very positive outflow that's all in love and all directed toward not personal power. That's the result of it, but connection and love. And it has to start here.
I love that so much. Is this something that you would do on the daily? Is this something that you would do if you have a question that you need answer? Is this something that you would incorporate into your new regimen, like you would a workout or a meditation routine? Or what is the practical applications of this?
Well, it really depends on what you want to do with it. Just coming to one of our live events will completely change your reality no matter what. I mean, I have had so many doctors that are very, very closed to the idea until they experience it. And then it opens a whole new world for them. And all of a sudden, we created that um, awakening that didn't have to be the trauma that did it. It was literally a playground, because it can be a playground or a prison. The same real estate, both of them have bars, but they serve really different purposes. And so, with that in mind, basically, Christy, I mean, if you want to like do a every day, I have multiple different options. I'm literally trying to give this to the Western world the very best way that I can, which is meeting them where they're at. So I have a little free trial. You can go try the first energy
Mhm.
exercise that anyone ever learns, and it's doesn't matter if you've done 30 years of energy work or you're a total skeptic, have never done anything in your life. You do this one little exercise, you will feel something and you'll know where to go after that. And there's tons of options. I have online programs that you can do it right in the comfort of your own home, or you can join us for in-person immersion events. We're reformulating and launching some special 2-day events. We have full 5-day events. The whole calendar and all the different options are available on our thing. But I will say this: if you just do the basic maintenance stuff, it's 5 minutes and it's worth better effect to your body and mind synchronization than 45 minutes worth of cardio, warm up, cool down, all of that. You can add it to anything else that you do. It's the ultimate cross trainer. You'll quit getting sore. You'll quit getting tired. You'll increase your endurance, your stamina, your coordination and reflexes. And most importantly, you'll reduce your stress at a totally different level that integrates all of that. So you can actually play the game of life the way that you want to play it. And as far as you want to go down the rabbit hole, I mean, literally, this is a science of unlocking ourselves. So I would hope that everybody has the opportunity to go and try out the free energy intro exercise. It's intro to energy awakening, and you learn the first exercise. And if you do that, you'll have a good idea of if it's calling you or not. And if it is, then I would love to invite you to come and join us. This is all about giving everything, because the rising tide floats all ships.
I want to do this. So what website am I going to in order to experience the first little taste? And then how are you coming to LA? Do you have a tour? Where do you do? Is this an online thing that you can like what how can I do this?
Oh my gosh, Christy, I would love to come to LA. Actually,
Come
I'm
to
going to
LA,
be
baby.
I'm going to be coming to LA early next week, actually, because I'm getting married here on the 5th of May, and we're going to take a cruise out of LA
Congratulations.
down for our honeymoon. So, yeah, I'm the luckiest boy in the world. And
Oh, well,
yeah, I will be in LA,
congratulations.
but not for an event.
Okay.
In any
I'll
case,
leave you alone for your wedding nuptials, but that's it.
thank you. Thank you. Well, no, probably the best place to just get up and up on it, vibravision.com, like vibration, V-I-B-R-A, vision.com. Or you can go right to mossmike.com for the free gift. You can do either one of those. The vibravision.com has all of the calendars, all of the things. And, we're just revamping the website right now. So it'll be picking up here over the next week or so, and be a little different than it is. But that's where all the information is. Moss Mike is where you get, mossmike.com is where you get the free gift. And we primarily do the events here in Ogden, Utah, which is about 30 miles north of Salt Lake. But I've done several out and about, because it's really cool to come meet people where they're at. And I really feel like we're launching a new 2-day event that is basically like a 2-day immersive taste test. And I did it once in Miami. It was phenomenal, like unbelievable. I couldn't believe that we got the results. Like doing it with the blindfold on, where this is like the best blindfold in the world. You can't cheat it. I still got, in just 2 days, 90% of the participants to find the target 80% of the time, and it was just absolutely unreal for a 2-day event. Then, of course, we have the full 5-day events. We have a level 1 that's coming up in June, but we sprinkle them throughout the years and try to make it so folks that are coming from overseas, they can come and just get one visa and then do several events in a row and like really level up. I mean, there's so many things to play with here, and we really want to meet everybody where they're at. So please go check out the website and schedule a call, or just try the free energy intro. Try to figure out how you can make this happen for you, and we'll try to meet you right where you're at.
I want to do this. I find it to be fascinating, and if I get more healing, like I have been struggling with my health for over a decade, and if this ramps me up in any way with my energy, my physical symptoms, all of that stuff, like, I am 100 on board, and I have been wanting to develop my spidey senses now ever since that I've been getting involved into spirituality. I'm doing a new meditation practice myself. Every Saturday, I'm in a meditation group, and I'm working on it, and I'm hoping that I will hone in. Sometimes I think my pineal gland is, calcified or something, like, I spent many, many years living like a rock star. I don't think I did my brain any any favors, to be
Well,
honest with you.
Christy, if I could just give you a little grace on that one, because you did it just the way that you were supposed to do it, to have the perfect experience and warm your brain up for what's coming next. And with that in mind, for the calcification, my understanding of it, and the experience that I have here, is that that's not a hard thing to get rid of. Literally, please do not block yourself by thinking that there's something wrong with you. And I really would love to support you in your healing journey. I know this might not be the time for it, but I would love to find out what it is that you've been battling, and if there's a way that I can accelerate that for you. And I would love to have you come and play with us, because literally, this is the last part I forgot to tell everybody. The playground or the prison, there's two ways to find this connection. you can either suffer until you surrender, which is the traditional path through long terms of very unpleasurable things and pilgrimages or meditation things or whatever, or you can go to Disneyland because they've proven 100% that if things are done in play, you create the new neural synapse because you hit the genius mode and you change the brain waves anyway. So I combine all the modern stuff with all of the ancient stuff to make it fast and fun. And literally, this is like the most fun you can have legally. Our live events are something totally different than anything else I've experienced, and I've been around a little bit. So, with that in mind, I definitely, if you feel open to sharing right now what it is that you've been struggling with, I can guarantee you that we'll boost your energy levels. But this might be even more specific than that. Or if you'd like to chat afterwards, I'm good either way.
Well, we can chat a little bit offline, but I'm definitely interested in this, and we're up on our hour, but I gotta admit, like, anytime you want to come back and talk further about spirituality, Vibravision, but I would love to have you back on at any time. You're
Oh,
fascinating. I
thank
think you
you.
are a light out there. I'm so glad you found this technology and you are who you are and you're bringing it to the masses because we really do need to awaken people to their full potential, to who they are. Life is magical, it's mystical, it's metaphysical, and I don't believe we know our full capacities. And I am excited to have you out there illuminating us and helping us see our greatest and highest good in all of us. So thank you, Mas Mike. Thank you very
Oh,
much.
thank you, sweetie. Really, so grateful to be here, and I can't wait to play more.
Yes, it'll be great. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to leave it there. Mas Mike's a very busy man. I will leave his information in the show notes. Check out Vibravision and wake your body up to who you are, guys. Like, this could be the next thing, man. And Mas Mike, thank you for your time today. I really appreciate it. You keep doing you, man.
Thank you so much, Christy, and likewise.
Journey well, everyone. We will see you next week on Fate from Atheism to Enlightenment. Bye, everybody. And that is a wrap on this episode of Fate from Atheism to Enlightenment. I mean, Mas Mike, ladies and gentlemen. I am so running towards the Vibravision as we speak. I am excited for this technology. I'm excited to see what exactly it does, how it feels. I mean, I'm already on the awakening path, so I'm all in on the energetic nature of who we are. And I certainly believe that we are all superhuman to a certain extent. We all have spidey senses, intuition, some to greater extent than others, but certainly we all have that power within. And if this technology could really illuminate us to so much, I am excited for his venture. I'm going to follow him in every way. Um, this is it, guys. I think that we are coming across a new place in our history where people are going to really start bridging science and technology and spirituality in ways that we've never even thought of. And I'm excited to be around to see this all unfold in my lifetime. I'm going to put all of his information in the show notes. I will put Vibravision. Get out there and try it for yourself. See what type of sensations, what your experience is, and start tapping into your own power. I mean, I was very excited after this interview. I think that this could be super exciting, and I'm really very happy that his team reached out to me and we had him on the show because this is next level stuff here, gang. And I'm hoping that you're really enjoying this episode and that it is exciting for you as it is for me, because this gives me hope for humanity. It just does. Like, this is the kind of stuff where I'm like, yeah, buddy, let's go. Because it is hard, as he was saying, even through the martial arts experience of his life, of spending years in the martial arts world. And it's only when you get through the 20 million hurdles that you start getting into your inner energy, your chi, your prana, and all that stuff. And people these days don't have time to invest years into a meditation practice or a martial arts um, practice. We are in a um, quick fix mode as far as what humans are looking for in this day and age. And to have something out there that is seems to be super effective, super magical is exciting for me. And so I'm going to try it. I hope you do too. And I think Mas Mike is someone that we're going to see in the future as coming to the forefront of one of the pioneers of people out there that are trying to awaken us to who we are, to our natural way, to the power that lies within. It does all lie within. And my hat's off to you, Moss Mike. It really is. I don't have much to say after that, gang. I mean, Moss Mike said it all. I barely talked through that interview. So he is a wealth of information. I highly suggest you guys follow him and tap into the Vibravision and figure out your own magical superpowers. I want that for us all. On that note, guys, I'm going to go ahead and leave it there. Follow me on Instagram. I'm at F.A.T.E. podcast. I am looking for your support. Love some feedback. DM me if you have anything you want to see on the show. If you have a spiritual awakening that's really amazing or empowering, I'd love to tell your story. And I always want y'all to subscribe, tell a friend, do something to support the show. I am looking to get more subscribers, tell more interesting stories. I'm very excited about the future of this show. I have so many great guests for you coming up. And if you're looking for a way to support the show, you can buy my book. It's adorable. It's about my dogs, and it would be a great addition to anyone's collection. It is unlike anything you've seen. It's heartwarming. It is adorable, and I highly recommend you picking that up. It will help support me and my endeavor. I am a one-man band over here. I do it all. I have no help, no producers, no team. So it'd be a great way to support the show, and you're going to get something out of it that is just as important. Learn what the true meaning of friendship is. It's a very cute book. Alrighty, gang. With that, welcome to your fate, everyone. I will see you next week. Journey well. Bye-bye.